We all use this substance, but as you can see from the title, my question is, do you know what additives are in your salt? Because there is some dangerous stuff that is lurking in the salt, and I want to talk about it today. Hi, if you're new to the channel, my name is Charlotte James. I am a certified holistic health coach here to help you on your health journey. So, our scripture today comes out of Matthew 5 and 13. It says, "The salt has lost its flavor. How then can it how then can it be utilized?" Basically, I'm paraphrasing. It says, "If it's no more good, then it should be thrown out and trampled underfoot." Well, today I want to talk about what's been lurking in our salt. And I'm telling you my own experience because I found out recently through some others in the holistic health space that have done studies on certain types of salts, whether it's Celtic salt. They didn't test Himalayan salt. So Himalayan salt is actually always good because it's a natural form of iodine. However, if you do Celtic salt, kosher salt, um, a lot of your run of the mill, just plain everyday, like, I don't want to name the brand, but the normal brand names that are out there for salt. You got to be careful because they may have high levels of uh, heavy metals and also arsenic. So what I found out was yes, I've been using Celtic salt when I found out about it and started doing some research about it because it actually does. It's full of tremendous minerals. I mean, just like deep minerals that are very healthy for your body, your magnesium, your manganese, all of these things are actually in the salt. However, when tested, and here's the thing about processing, guys, because it's one thing to, yes, you could have a very wonderful benefit to a particular food or product, additive, spice or whatever. However, the processing is key because if we don't know how it's processed, there could be danger in the processing. And so that actually adds to the actual, whether it's the food or in this instance, the salt. And so the study was tested for heavy metals, arsenic. It was also tested for, I think, high levels of other, um, I can't mention them here because of YouTube, but high levels of things that will actually cause your body to now house those things, especially heavy metals. Heavy metals, we find them in quite a number of our of substances, and it's very dangerous. And so I wanted to come on here and really talk to you guys about what the research found. And again, I'm telling you, I have been using Celtic salt for, I think, almost like a good maybe year. And so to see that the study turned up with, this danger in Celtic salt, which, like I was saying, it has all types of tremendous health benefits. However, it was the worst of all of them. And it actually turned up that the Celtic salt, now this was just a particular brand. So I don't want to say across the board, but it's a particular brand. It actually comes in a blue package. I'm not going to name it. You guys can do your own research. But the Celtic salt actually came back with the highest level of um, heavy metals and arsenic. Guys, that is horrible because heavy metals cause so much destruction, not just on your cells, but I mean, it causes inflammation levels to rise. It causes your hormone balance to be off. It causes so much detriment to your health journey, and we may not even know it because we're just shaking the salt on, thinking that it's a great thing, and it is good. And again, I'm prefacing that it was just one particular type of salt, Celtic salt. So if you know the source of your Celtic salt, make sure that it does not have any added arsenic or heavy metals in it because these things wreak havoc on our body, especially on our immune system. Because when you think about salt, salt in itself is a good thing. I mean, the scripture that we talked about in Matthew 5 and 13 today, it says that, salt, we are called the salt of the earth, as believers, and what it does for our bodies is actually a good thing. So don't let anybody tell you that you don't need salt. Your body needs salt. because it's a part of your makeup of your cells. And when you know what's a part of your makeup of your cells, you want to make sure that your body has plenty of that. And so, but one particular salt did come back with no traces of arsenic or heavy metals. And it's a kosher salt, a red kosher salt. I actually listed it in the description. I don't support them. I'm not, doing a product review or whatever, but it did come back with it came back with no heavy metals and no arsenic, which I think is amazing. I actually went out and found some. You can find it in your local grocery store. You may need to order it, but it's I've been using it, and I can tell. I will tell you that sometimes you don't always recognize when your body has been inundated by heavy metals. You don't always recognize what symptoms or arsenic. You don't always recognize it because you're just thinking that, oh, I just don't feel, I feel off, or this and that, and you'll chalk it up to something that actually is something that you're not even aware of. Because let's just face it, I say this all the time because I want you guys to know and be educated. How you guys doing? Tell me where you're tuning in from. Always good to see you guys. Um, I always tell you guys, just make sure you know what the source is, because there is so much stuff, so much toxic things in our food supply. And one of the things that we can do to counteract that, because we're talking about salt, make sure that you get the salt that does not have any arsenic or heavy metals in it, first of all, and test it in your system. I will say that iodine, I said before, Himalayan salt, which is a natural form of iodine, is actually good. You do have to use it in moderation. And here's a clue as to if you've used too much Himalayan salt, you get a little tinge of a headache. It means that there's too much iodine for you, for your particular system. And so I wanted to share this with you guys because it is so important. And when I got the revelation, I'm like, oh my goodness, because I had been using it. And I like when I mean, I'm not liking that it happens that way, but it's useful because I'm just not telling you something that's just willy-nilly. No, I'm telling you something that actually happened to me because I was using this particular brand of, Celtic salt. And like I said, it's just this particular brand that was tested. So there may be a Celtic salt out there that does not have it. And I will do some research to find out if I can find a Celtic salt, because the benefits of Celtic salt are actually very good. I mean, it's full of all of your trace minerals within the salt, which is phenomenal. I mean, you can get a dose of it just putting a little bit underneath of your tongue. However, we need to know the source and where it was produced, because if we don't know that, they're adding things to our food supply all the time, and things that you don't think about, whether it's spices or things that we just do on a daily basis, and we don't think too much about it because we're like, oh no, it could be fine. No, no, no. Let me tell you, you need to research those as well. Make sure you know, if you can get it, if you can get it locally, that's even better. If you know the source locally, that's even better. But when we don't know, we have to do our due diligence. And everything that I find out, everything that I research, everything that, because I stay connected to my health coaching community very well, because I need to know what's happening, and I also need to know what the dangers are that are coming. What laws are being passed, what things are trying to be indoctrinated even worse in our food. I told you about the nanoparticles, nanoplastics, things like that. But I wanted to come on here and really share with you guys. I actually miss you guys. I got a lot going on, but I don't think there's anyone that doesn't have a lot going on these days. And I made it back to the park, which is great. Um, so I wanted to share with you guys to make sure that you know what is in your salt. And I put in the description the name of the salt that I found that was tested and did not have any, not even a microgram. And we are talking about micrograms. However, micrograms add up, especially when you're using it in cooking. When you're using it, when you sit down to actually eat and you're seasoning your food, you want to make sure that what you're putting on your food, especially when, like me, I mean, I cook, I don't eat out. I 99% of my food, I cook it because I try and eat mostly plant-based. I don't eat meat, but I try to make it clean. I make sure that it's organic. However, if we don't have the ingredients that we need in order to make sure that it's healthy for us, we're really doing ourselves a disservice. And so I wanted to tell you guys, about that because it's so important for us to know what is in our salt, and is our salt making us sick? Is it making our health journey even much more difficult? And that's a problem because if it's unbeknownst to us that it's making our health journey more difficult, we may not even know about it. But here's something that you can now be aware of. Make sure you test your salt. And I'll actually put a link into the description too of I try and put a link into the description of the test that was actually done on multiple salts. And quite honestly, it shocked me because I thought that the Celtic salt that was in the lineup of salts was actually the healthiest, when in actuality, no, it was the worst. And so I thank you guys. Listen, if you made it this far in the video and you like my content, please, please, please support me in any way. There's a link in the description, but just like the video, share it with someone that you know needs to see this, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. For those of you that are new, hey, welcome to the community, welcome to the family. We love having you here, and I am talking all things and holiness. Health and holiness, because it's important to know what God says about our body, but it's also important to know about what's happening holistically to our bodies. Not conventional. I mean, I don't knock conventional. However, there are a lot of things that we have discounted that really should be looked at in our food, water, and air supply, but also the products that we put on our bodies. And I'll talk a little bit more about that because in my next video, I want to share with you some things that I've recently been studying, and it's pretty eye-opening as to what we should be doing. And it concerns some critters we need to get out of our bodies. And so stay tuned for the next video. Listen, guys, I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Stay healthy. And don't forget to check your salt. Look in the description. You'll see the salt. It's a kosher salt. It's a kosher salt. It's actually a little more flaky as opposed to granular, but not much. And I tried it. It's actually good. But yeah, check it out in the description, and remember our scripture in Matthew 5:13. Until next time, guys, take care. Peace out.